Say what?
Is it live on Facebook also?
Have you went to Facebook?
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't showed up there either. I see when you click it, it says live chat.
Wait a minute,
Oh,
because
there
we
it
are
is.
live. Waiting for the petty crew.
Right. That's what it kept saying. Waiting for the pet.
What the fuck are you waiting on?
Okay.
So you see us.
Yeah.
So see it ain't. Okay, so it must be behind. There we go. So we sitting up here talking in this fucking got a lag. Cause I can show you live right here. Are we on Facebook? Let me see.
I didn't see it.
Oh, cause hell, it's going live on my personal page. Oh shit. Silver.
Your voice is unheard.
Listen, man, when we get this show started, oh man, let me share it on the page, cause see, it's live on my page. Hey, listen, shout out to everybody who's tuned in right now because we're live on my page on Facebook. However, again, thank everybody for tuning in. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. We have a great show lined up for you guys today. We are in the middle of a break. We're in the middle of our song of the day, or today's song, which is LMA Naked. And then after that, man, we're going to get into today's show again. We have a great show lined up for you guys. Hey, listen, that was LMA Naked. So let's go on and jump into today's show again. We have a great show lined up for you all. We're going to be listening, or we're going to be talking about again the young man out of Houston, Texas, who was told either he's going to cut his dreadlocks or he's not going to graduate. And he's the second young brother who was told this out of the state of Texas. We're also going to jump into a hot relationship segment. What do you do when you confront your spouse about a emotional affair? This is real, this is live, and this is pulled from Facebook from an anonymous brother. We're going to jump into that with what's going on today with here we are a week out with the death of Kobe Bryant. We want to lift up prayers for not only Kobe Bryant, because I think we get lost in him being the celebrity who passed away. However, what people are forgetting is that there were 7 other men and women on this flight. So we got to jump into this conversation, and I asked before we jump into our song, did Kobe Bryant have his daughter along with the other men and women on this flight safety in mind when they took off? There's a reason for you guys who've been following me on social media for over the 10 years. There's a reason for everything that I say. There's a motive behind everything. And so there's a reason why I'm asking that question. Because we are caught up in the accident. However, could there be precautions taken and we will have these 9 people still here today? Also, again, we're going to jump into, in our Shade Tree segment, Gabrielle Union and Terry Crews beat. With that being said, man, let's go and jump right into it. For you guys who do not know, we are a week out, And okay, Silver. Damn. It just seemed like when the whole crew not here, that's when you decide to act up. Um, so here we go. Cause now I got to look at my phone because my little old laptop is on one. And this is from January the 22nd. It says a black teenager in Texas said he had been suspended and told he can't walk in his high school graduation ceremony unless he cuts his dreadlocks to meet the school district's dress code. DeAndre Arnold, a senior at Barber Hills High School in Mount Bellevue, about 30 miles east of Houston, told NBC affiliate KPRC of Houston that his hair had been in compliance with school rules until recently when he faced an in-school suspension after he refused to cut his hair. DeAndre Arnold, whose father is from Trinidad, said he's worn dreadlocks for years like a lot of men in his family. Also following his school's dress code by tying them up. He goes on to say, I really like that part of Trinidadian culture. He told the situation. So I mean really, I embrace that. Silver, you are literally messing up today's show, player. You really are. Now I got you on the show.
He's trying not to.
You're messing up today's show. Now, don't look at me crazy.
He's giving his point before you're finished.
We see you.
Okay.
People on social media see you. Don't get to looking at me all of a sudden with that deep eye look, and I'm trying to do a show.
That's right. Okay.
Okay? Because right now, you own one. How about that? Thank you. I appreciate you now. Now, with that being said again, as I was rudely interrupted by my son, his mother, Sandy Arnold, said after Christmas break, 3 months before graduation, the Barber Hill Independent School District changed its dress code as it refers to hair. Now the rules stipulate hair must be clean and well groomed and not extend on male students at any time below the eyebrows, the earlobes, or the top of the t-shirt collar, including when let down. The article also goes on to say that as of the 2017-2018 school year, Barber Hill School had a student body that is predominantly white according to the data posted online by the Texas Tribune. The superintendent, Greg Poole, appears to have addressed the issue in a statement posted on the district's website saying that it allows any legal accepted religious or medical exemption to its dress code and have allowed such exemptions in the past. Listen, again, here's what the situation is in a nutshell. This brother, as well as another young brother, have fallen victim to a ever-changing dress code. And now what makes his situation a little bit different from the first brother, young brother, was that he's the one that's been told that if he does not cut his dreads, then he can't graduate. So with that being said, I want to know from you, the good doctor, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, like you said, it's a ever-changing policy. He was apparently compliant up until Christmas break, and then the policy changed, and now he's no longer compliant. Number one, are they stopping him from participating in the graduation ceremony, or are they withholding his high school diploma?
No, they're not going to hold his high school diploma.
Okay.
They can't legally. They can't do that.
So he can still get his high school diploma. He just won't be able to participate in the ceremony. Number two, the caveat they come back with is, oh well, if it's for religious or medical reasons, then it's okay for his hair to be lower than his eyebrow or his earlobe. And then number three, um, if uh, these were girls, does the rule apply to girls with long hair?
Okay, hold on, good doctor. You was going strong, but
Well, it was just, I mean, it was just because they're saying the hair can't be,
this
it
is for
can't
men.
touch.
This is for
Okay.
young men.
All right.
So,
So what about boys that, or Caucasian boys that don't cut their hair, they wear it pretty long?
well, apparently the Caucasian young men are cutting their hair.
Okay.
So, what the article goes on to talk about, and for you guys who are just now tuning in, thank you guys for tuning in. Right now, we're discussing. I believe his name was DeAndrea.
Arnold.
Let me get back to
DeAndre Arnold, right outside of Houston.
what's his name?
DeAndre Arnold.
Okay, DeAndre Arnold, who's in um, outside of Houston, who was again told that uh, he's not going to able to basically participate in his graduation ceremony if he does not cut his hair. And so, for you guys who are just now tuning in, we want to know your thoughts about that. How do you feel about the young man who is not going to be able to uh, participate in his own graduation? And I looked at some other stories. You know, this high school has received backlash behind this because, you know, you have some folks who are saying, hey, come on now. We're talking about her. He has been compliant. He has been in compliance as long
Right.
as he's been going to the school.
And then they changed the rule in December. His mom said when they came back from Christmas break, all of a sudden there was a new rule, and then he was no longer in compliance.
Right. And so the question is well, what is that? What is it at the root of it? Are these policies when it comes to dress code and hair designed to target young black men
Mm-hmm.
uh, who
Who choose to wear dreadlocks?
right who choose to wear dreadlocks? And again, we've seen this in the corporate workplace.
Mm-hmm.
Black men and women who not only were they on their job either told to cut their hair or
Mm-hmm.
even lost an opportunity to work for a company because it didn't fit their a Caucasian how do you put it, a Caucasian dress code.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes I sit up here and I think and I'm like, man, we are in a hopeless situation when at the end of the day we are the minority of the two, and our power and voice is not as heavy when you are not the ones making the policies. Um, it seems like we always have to conform to a white way of things. Does it really matter how your hair look? I can get as long as it's neat. Because there's an article that a story about this same situation where the young man has always kept his hair tied up,
Mm-hmm.
so he's never put it down and been out of dress code.
Right.
So why now?
Right. Why change the rule now? Why can't he be grandfathered in? Since he's been attending this school, this isn't a new hairstyle. Like his hair has been like this for a while. And a follow up to this, he was on the Ellen show this week, and Ellen, along with Alicia Keys, gave him $20,000 towards his college fees for standing up, for himself because his mother has boldly stated that they're not cutting his hair. He's not cutting his hair.
So what I'm finna do is, because I'm on my social media page, Facebook, and I'm gonna read some of these comments. Because even when I was following on Twitter, I mean, they're roasting this school. They roasting the hell out of this school because, some things should be like, hey, man, we understand it. We get it. And is it really that much of a big deal? I mean, is his hair really uh, that much of a distraction? Again, when we are not in a place of power, the pastor talking about conforming, and that's what we're asked to do. Or not even asked, we're told, because we can just put some paper in your life, change some policies.
And now you can't participate in the culmination of 12 years because you refuse to, like you said, comply with the rule that we set.
Right.
So now 12 years of schooling comes down to one night and you're not allowed to participate. Your family won't be able to see you. It's because we the people have decided that this is how we want things to go, and it's either you put up or shut up.
Right. Matter of fact, I'm on Twitter because that's where Barbara Hill High School was getting roasted. Hold on, here we go. And I just want to read some of these comments before we move on to our relationship segment. Here we go. Barbara Hill. Anything else you want to add on the situation while I'm looking up this story?
I mean, I think it's admirable that his family has stood with him in deciding not to cut his hair. Unfortunately, if the school doesn't make an exception, he will miss his graduation. But I think it's a great lesson in saying that the time is always now to do the right thing. At one point, somebody has to stand up and say, this can't happen because it's going to happen to another student. Maybe for a different reason, they'll change the law or they'll change the rule, in the midst, and it cuts out or closes the door for some people. Next, it'll be, can't wear hair coverings, and all of a sudden, Muslims are not allowed to graduate. There's no stopping it. So I think it's admirable that his family's like, no, we're not going to cut his hair. We missed the graduation. We missed the graduation.
Well, hopefully, there is a positive, something positive comes from the situation with him because, again, sadly, when and people hate Dame Dash. Damian Dash, y'all know him, infamous. They call him an asshole. He was one of Jay-Z's business partners. But he said something that I watched in the interview is that while we're not taught to be politicians, while we're not taught how you really evoke change, again, marching in our civil organizations and our fraternal organizations is cool. But they don't get laws changed. They don't get policies passed. And that really makes sense. We're not in a position to sit up here and create change. You're going to always see the same Caucasian Americans in these positions to tell us how we need to dress, how we should talk, what we should eat, what we should eat. Because my thing is that guess what? Their children are taught to do that.
Yeah. And we're taught to follow the rules, keep your head down, don't make a fuss.
Play sports.
Because you have to pay bills. So.
Go into entertainment.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're striving to be.
Right.
And again, everybody don't make that. You know, everybody can't make it to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's not gonna be famous in the music industry. I'm not gonna say rich
Mm-hmm.
because while we're striving for those things, again, situations like this happen. Again, this is a predominantly it is a predominantly white school. However, just because it's predominantly white doesn't mean that
It's right.
right and everything is exclusively white.
Yeah.
So with that being said, man, we hope that something positive and it come from this situation. This young brother is able to graduate. With that being said, man, we're gonna go on and jump into our relationship segment. And so I'm going to read this status, and this is a real status that comes from a real brother. However, I cut out the name. So, you know, um, here's what it says. This was January the 28th at 12:22 p.m. He says, how do you deal with an emotional affair? Or it seems like one. About a year or so ago, my wife met a new male coworker at her job, and they hit it off pretty well. Over the past years, they become increasingly close to where they will talk on the phone for hours at a time, and she would watch his snaps over and over again. Even my mother-in-law noticed it and voiced her opinion, and I also expressed my concern. My wife got defensive and said they were just friends. Since that time, he still calls, but now whenever I'm around, she won't answer. But if I'm asleep or she thinks I'm asleep or she thinks I am, she'll answer it and her demeanor completely changed. I confronted her about it and she said I was being insecure, jealous, which I can admit. It does hurt my feelings, but if the shoes were on the other foot, she'd have a field day. I'm completely torn. Do I trust my wife? Yes. If I didn't, I wouldn't be with her. I prayed about it, cried in prayer about it, but something still doesn't sit right with me. I'm not sure what to do. Again, this is real. I weighed in on it, so I'm going to go to exactly what I said. Again, what we have here in this situation for you guys who are tuned in, and if you're watching, we are at our relationship segment. A young man expresses that, or he's asking, how do you deal with a emotional affair? Or what he believes is emotional affair between his wife and a male co-worker. He explained, hey, I don't like it, or he's expressed how he felt about it. The wife has got defensive and said, you know what, you're being jealous, whatever the case may be. And he ultimately says, um, I prayed about it, cried in prayer about it, but something still doesn't sit right with me. So let me tell you, when I initially seen this, because I got notified about it, I just simply told him, you have a decision to make, bro. I couldn't do it personally. Brother goes on to say, right, and it really hurts. And this was the guy who initiated this conversation. Other men chimed in and said, bro, if it doesn't sit right, it ain't right. Pray more and ask God to bring everything in the dark to light. Give your wife one more talk. If she comes clean, great. Forgive, rebuild, trust, and move forward. If not, share with her honestly about your hurt and about it being on the other foot. Ask for consideration that will reveal how much she is or not attached. Um, and then I'm gonna turn. I'm gonna read one more because a lot of men weighed in on this, and this is an all male group. Another gentleman says, At the end of the day, man, it ain't sitting right with you. Voice how you feel. There needs to be some boundaries put in place. You set those parameters as your wife. She should be able to understand. On another note, if you ain't feeling the whole thing, then voice that too. As your wife, she should again understand and let that go. Definitely ask God to way more, reveal way shit. You know how social media is. Folks be typing and missing words.
Yeah.
We all do it. Definitely ask God to reveal, I guess, a way. The way may be hidden. At the worst, forgive and allow the behavior to be the change you see. I'm always in agreement with reconciliation. Pray it works out for uh, you and her, man. That's what he was trying to tell her. So, before I give my rest of my commentary, because I was wanting to wait to the rest of the show to talk about this, and I hate the other co-hosts are not here to weigh in on this. So, what are your thoughts about this, good doctor?
Well, it all depends. Not all depends. When it comes to um, cheating, or I guess you have to define: is this cheating? He said it's an emotional affair,
You said it's emotional affair.
or he thinks she's having an emotional affair, and so you know, it's like, is this cheating to me or not? Is it a deal breaker or not? It's obvious that he doesn't like what's going on. I can't even see it. I can't remember if he. Well, okay, he said he voiced it to her. He said, "Hey, I'm noticing something I don't like it." So he's expressed how he felt about it, and now I guess it's a hard place to be in. You either consider um, the marriage in total, meaning if there are children involved, families involved, or you consider your needs and say, which one outweighs. And so, I think it's a hard place to be in, because for some people it may not be a deal breaker because it's not. Um, it didn't involve a sexual relationship with someone outside of the marriage. And so, I guess you're saying which one is more destructive. You say which one is more destructive, the emotional affair, the fact that she may be sharing feelings and thoughts that she should be sharing with you, she's sharing with someone else. It could also cause you to question yourself, saying, why is my wife turning to someone else instead of me? I think it's a very hard place to be in. And his answer is going to be the answer for him, not anybody else, because cheating looks different for everyone.
Well, he didn't say anything. He don't believe she's cheating.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
so that's not the conversation.
First, it's defining whether it's cheating or not, because she's having an emotional affair. When you hear the word affair, then is she cheating or not? That's what I'm saying. First, it's defining, is this cheating or not? Number two, is cheating a deal breaker for me or not? And then weighing the cost of his needs and his desires against the marriage, the institution of marriage, the unity of marriage, what it means for the children, what it means for the families involved. Do you sacrifice what it is that you want? Because he's spoken to her about it. He's told her how he felt about it, and it's seeming like she's continuing. And so it's, do I go with the advice of others, where you talk to her again, you maybe get clearer or more truthful with how you feel, and hope, I guess.
Okay, so what would you do? I mean, it just seems like you're talking in circles. We've already know all this. He put it in the conversation. So in other words, what I'm asking.
Well, that's what I'm saying. What anyone will do will be for them. These are just the things if it was me, just the things that I would have to consider.
Right. What I'm saying is, so put yourself in this, and then how would you handle it? He's already
Well, I
put
mean,
it out there.
I think I would come from the. I think my approach would be, what was lacking in our marriage that this person is giving you, because you're doing this for a reason. We don't do things haphazardly. We're guided. Our behavior is guided. So the conversation would be, what is it that you're getting from the relationship with this coworker that you're not getting from me? Is it something that we can have?
Okay. So my question is would you allow this type of behavior?
Um, I don't know if I would.
If I was,
What do you
if
mean
I was,
by
if
allow?
I had a, so because I'm trying to get how you would, because you just asked
I'm
you're talking.
telling I'm telling you,
So
it would be a conversation as to what did
would
they
you have a
give
problem
him?
with it? Yes or no?
What do you mean?
Would you have a problem with a
Cheating
man
is
having
not
a?
a deal breaker for me. That's what I'm saying. The conversation would be,
So would you have a problem with a man in this situation? With a man speaking with another woman who's not his
no,
close friend?
no.
So that wouldn't be for you. So for so okay. So if that's not the case, so in other words, if it were you in this picture, you wouldn't have a problem.
Well, if it was me in this picture, then I would have a problem. That's why he's writing about it.
Right. So again, let me ask you once again.
So I'm
So
saying
if you're in his
my
shoes,
conversation would be, what is it that you're getting from this person that you're not getting in our relationship? What is missing with us that you found over there? What is the missing piece here that you found over there?
now after voicing your opinion or your thoughts, just say because you didn't like it, because we're putting
Right.
ourselves in his shoes.
Okay,
So
so
we're talking from
if
the
I
place
don't
of his
like
shoes.
it, then again, it is weighing the cost of my feelings, my desires against the unification of two families, the children that are involved. You have to say, if if I take this to heart, how is this going to affect everyone involved in this marriage? Is this something that we can work out? Are we in a bad place that my spouse is finding joy and laughter in someone else? Because apparently she's not stepping out sexually. She's just having a great time with someone else outside of me. So how could we replicate whatever it is that you're getting over there? How can we have it? Am I feeling like an outsider? How can I be included in this also? There are a lot of things to look at.
Right. So again, you in this situation after saying to a dude, "Hey, I have a problem with this," and he continues to do it, then so you're saying you would accept it. So basically,
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
Is this a deal breaker or not? Is it something that we can have, that whatever you have with them, can we have it too?
So you wouldn't mind sharing another woman with your husband? Because that's basically what you're saying.
That's
what
not
are they
what
doing?
I'm saying. What I'm saying
So
is,
you wouldn't mind
the
sharing?
questions
So you would be
would
cool
be
with it?
the questions would investigate, why is my spouse doing this? Why? What is the motive behind it? I'm not in agreement with that motive or that intention.
Okay,
Then
what?
I have to look at, do my desires and the things that I want and the things that I'm okay with, I have to weigh them against the marriage that the children are involved in, our families are involved in. You have to weigh these things out, because it's not just you and your marriage. It's you, your marriage, the children that are involved, your mothers, your fathers, your cousins, everyone that is connected to you. So if I say, hey, this is something I've spoken to you about, I'm honest about it, how it's affecting me, how it's affecting the way I relate to you, and it's still going on, now I have to say, if I make a decision, it's not just my decision. It is the decision. If I walk away, then this decision, who else is this decision affecting? Because it's not just affecting me. A marriage is a unification of two families. So now our families have been broken because of what? And is that worth it? Am I going to be okay with that?
Right. So okay. Well, so let me go and give it, and we're gonna get back because I mean you're talking questions, and he's been clear. What we're doing is putting ourselves in this man's position. He said what he said. If I tell you, because I do not look at, because when I read this and I seen it, I just told him, you have a tough decision to make, and I know what I wouldn't do. Uh, I know the day my significant other tell me I'm having a conversation with another man, especially a coworker, because we've had this conversation on the show before. Three of us. Here, hand it to me. For folks to watch it. Come on, because I don't need you messing up this recording every time you get to holler. Thank you. So, with that being said, for a man, and because I went to their page and I had to I had to look at him, I had to look at her. Because I like to go in to see who is this talking and see what they got going on. If they are attractive, if they not attractive, like what's going on. But let me deal with this first. For you guys who are just now tuned in, who are just trying to figure out what we're talking about, I pulled a real status that was in a all male group. As a matter of fact, not just all male group, all married men. Everybody in this group is married. A married man basically says, how do you deal with an emotional affair? Or it seems like one. And then he goes on to say, for you guys, for a recap, about a year or so ago, my wife met a new male coworker at a job, and they hit it off pretty well. He goes on to say that over the past year, they become increasingly close to where they will talk on the phone for hours at a time, and she would watch his snaps over and over again. Even my mother-in-law noticed, and because there's a lot that you were talking that was skimmed over, my mother-in-law noticed it and voiced her opinion, and I also expressed my concern. My wife got defensive, which wasn't addressed, and said they were just friends. She goes on to say, since that time, he still called, but now whenever I'm around, she won't answer. But if I'm asleep or she thinks I am, she'll answer, and her demeanor completely changed. I confronted her about it, and she said I was being insecure, jealous, which I can admit it does hurt my feelings. But if the shoe were on the other foot, she'd have a field day. I'm completely torn. I trust my wife. Yes, I didn't, and I wouldn't be with her. He prayed about it. He cried, but something still doesn't sit right with me. I'm not sure what to do. So let me go and address this head on because I tried to give the good doctor opportunity to really jump in this thing, really dissect this with some psychology. Um, so let's go and break this down. You into the show or that? Hello? Like how you tell me, I can't be focused on this in the show. So it says again, the first thing he says, over the past year, they become increasingly close. What the first thing I want to point out is in this conversation was my mother-in-law noticed and voiced her opinion. That's red flag number one. The day my mama tell me, son, this is what you need to look out for, it's probably go in. I trust my mother enough that if she's peeping something, something is going on. Why? Because I trust her as a woman. Now, personally, as I told the brother, I wouldn't do it. It'll be a cold day in hell, and we had this conversation on the radio show when we was talking about uh, work husbands. The day the good doctor tell me I got a work husband, I'd have met any male dude that'd be the day I get a work attorney. Some men do not have the patience because he also mentioned in here the shoe was on the other foot, which is true. Let me have some woman that I'm close to and that I'm talking to and that I'm joking with and I'm sharing other moments and not with, it ain't even got to be the good doctor, but any woman, 9 times out of 10, she's going to have a problem with it. Where on one hand, we quick to talk about how a lot of women are with polygamy or polyamory, and they can't get past the first part of it, which is the relationship side of it, which is the conversation. And so this brother is very hurt by it. Hold on, I'm trying to zoom back in. And again, for you guys who are tuned in, we want to know what you think about it. How do you feel about uh, an emotional affair? That was the first thing that really stuck out for me because I know how much I love my mother. And like I said, let my mother sit up here and say, hey, son, and I got to pull you to the side. Even my mother. Uh, Now, in this case, it's mother-in-law. So it's her mother who says something to him, which makes it even worse. Because a woman know women. My mother be the first to tell you, I'll show you how you school them. Matter of fact, that's what she did tell me. I'll show you how you supposed to do it. That should have been his first warning. What I get from this young man is that he's torn and he's in a place where he has a big decision and he's not sure where to go with it. I've also made it very clear I will never love a woman enough that I'm a fool. This is just me, and this is just my honesty. I don't have to think about my mama, my daddy, because here's my answer to that. Is my significant other thinking about my mama, my daddy, my children, my uncles, my grandparents in actions? So for this brother, I wouldn't say, well, hey, you know what? You need to really think about who's all affected because I can be honest with you. My mama's going to be all right. My grandparents are going to be all right. My friends, my family are going to be all right. So in response to the good doctor, that's not really something that I'm really worried about. As somebody who's been previously married, my mother don't like my ex-wife, and there's a reason why. If my mother don't like you, you've given her a reason why. If it's something you've done to me, something you've done to her, there's a reason why. My kids' mothers, there's a reason why. She ought to be cordial, but that don't really mean she likes you. Another part of this is that she says my wife got defensive and said they were just friends. Since that time, he still calls. Another red flag that he's really not looking at. He clearly doesn't respect the marriage. That's like me meeting a woman and she says, hey, I'm going to give you my number. However, understand that I'm married. But yet and still, she will contact me at all time of the hours. He clearly doesn't respect their marriage. He doesn't respect their marriage, which will be red flag number 2. And again, I get it. I've been in a crossroad for shit. Now I know what I've resolved to say when they come back up where I'm at because I'm one of those who are definite when I decide to make a decision. When I pull it, I'm just gonna pull it. That's the second thing. He doesn't respect the marriage. But why should he respect the marriage? Because she doesn't respect the marriage. If I've already told me as a man, I've told my wife, I'm putting myself in this position. I've said, hey, listen, this is the situation. This is what this is. You can't expect him to respect your marriage when your wife doesn't respect your marriage. Then here's the third one. I confronted her about it. She said I was being insecure, which I can admit it hurt. And I've shared this video to this group, and so I hope you guys are watching this. Uh, Honestly, it's not worth it. My mindset is very simple. There are too many other women in this world. I've already put in my head that, well, I never love somebody enough that I'm going to be miserable. It's just not going to happen because some things are just straight foolishness. Right now, in me reading this brother comments as they are, this is a miserable brother. He's not in a place where he's just not in a good place. I don't want to see or hear anybody crying. I'm praying, and here's the problem. Prayer is cool. I'm a church going brother. I believe in Christ. I believe in the power of prayer. But, and I'm gonna say this, and I've said this a million times. Prayer is not what changes people. That's an excuse not to act. Let me say it again. Prayer doesn't change people. That's an excuse not to act. Because sadly for this woman, and I've said this in a different conversation, if it's not in you, you can pray 50 million times for such and such to change. If it's not them, it's just not them. Now let me be a little petty. I went to this page and I've seen this brother and I've seen this woman. This is not the most attractive person in the world. And that's what I weigh when I come to making my decisions as well. Is this person really that much attractive that I'm going to be worried about what she got going on? Now that's just me. That's just another component of me saying, you know what, at the end of the day, I know what I can have, and is she worth it? This young lady, and please forgive me, she's probably a good 270 some pounds. And I get it, it's somebody for everybody. But my brother, she ain't worth crying over spilled milk. Clearly, she's not much of a good woman if she's put you in this position to where now you're talking about you're crying and praying for a suspected emotional affair. We know how cheating starts with women. For majority of women, it starts emotional. Because every woman ain't, okay, what's up with it? All right, cool. And let's keep it moving. A lot of women want to get to know you and get comfortable before they decide to make that. And as I said in my initial comment to this brother, I couldn't do it. If I got to give my attention and conversation to another woman, there's absolutely no point in being married. Now, this ain't never happened, but let's go on and put this out there because we always talk about our relationship. If I can talk about cancer, I can talk to everybody else. In line with this conversation, if I ever found out that the good doctor is holding a conversation with some other man, she will be with that other man. Again, my pastor said it a long time ago, don't no man want a lollipop that somebody else licked. That's emotionally, that's physically, that's anything else. Because if I can't be the person you talk to, laugh with, and joke with, again, it is very simple. Why am I with you? Now that's me. Again, I expressed that to this brother, and I didn't express it in that much detail, but I just was upfront and said I couldn't do it. Because I'm not going to do it. There are too many other women out there, my brother, to be worried about one who's not making you happy. Not even making you happy. Because happy is a small emotion that come and go. But there are too many other women out there who don't mind giving you some sort of peace. And if you can't find peace at your home, why are you there? So again, man, listen, before we keep it moving and we go to KB's throwback song of the day, again, for you guys who are watching, how do you feel about emotional affairs? Again, this man is looking for advice. He's looking for something to help him make a decision because clearly he's torn. And like I said, I seen the red flags. I know for me personally, there's too many other women out there, my brother. It's too many. Because that's how I think. And that's kind of how it works. Uh, Pain is temporary, especially when it comes to relationships, and we know we're going to miss whoever we've been in this relationship for this amount of time with. However, what is true, there's always somebody else. Now, it might take long to get to them, but there's always, my brother, there's no point. In my last flag, your gut don't lie. I made it very, very clear, and I'll be honest on this show. The day I sit up here and gotta wonder if my wife is messing with somebody else, that's gonna be the day I'm gonna walk away. It ain't no point in living no life like that, man. As black men, we have too many issues to deal with. Too many problems. The world is already giving you too many issues. And a truck driver told me over 15 years ago. He said, if you gotta worry about while you on the road, you gotta worry about what your wife doing at home. That's not somebody you need to be married to because you need somebody that you can trust that's gonna handle your business while you're gone. And that stuck with me for over 15 years. That literally does make sense. Why should a woman or man have to worry about their significant other? And I've said that before. If I gotta worry about it, what's the point? So my brother, if you're watching, because I did share it to the group, if you're watching this, man, if you're listening, it's gonna be another woman. I can assure you. Whatever you give him, whatever the case may be, it's always gonna be another woman. Always. Secondly, I'll be upfront and tell you your wife is not attractive like that. That's just my opinion. She's just really not attractive like that for you to be worried about that behind that. With that being said, man, we're gonna get into KB's throwback song of the day, and that is Saturday Love Sherelle featuring Alexander O'Neal. Then we're gonna come back and talk about Shaq, and then we're gonna jump into Gabrielle Union. Please forgive me for Silver. He's on one right now, and his hand is all up in my face. So again, we're going to go back to KB's. We're going to get into KB's throwback song of the day. And then we're going to come back and discuss Kobe. Huh?
His interview?
What happened?
You said Shaq. Or you talking about Kobe?
I said Kobe.
No, you said Shaq.
You can't be touching that. Listen, hey, please forgive me, everybody who's watching on our little social media page. Y'all know how I go on here, man. When you doing this shit live and it's really live, it's from the crib. And you got a 4-month-old. It's going to happen. For my folks who are listening on the podcast, we're not ratchet at all. However, so I want y'all to forgive us. Please forgive me. You know, I believe in trying to give y'all a great show, but it's kind of distracting when I have to turn around and hold my son and make sure everything is cool. Because the good doctor over there just go let him just holler and everything else. And clearly he like, Daddy, come get me. Because if you guys can notice, now that I got him, he done got all quiet. He good to go. He knows it. So again, I want to introduce everybody who's watching. If y'all never seen my son, if it's your first time, and for y'all regulars that know he, when he sleep, he ain't on the show, but when he up, his ass is just here in live and in color. We want to welcome Silver, who is golden, to the show. You gonna say hello? Yes, not.
Not now.
Right. So again, please make sure you share our live stream. Again, first half of the show, we jumped into uh, the teen out of Texas who is being denied the right to participate in his graduation ceremony because he's refusing to cut his hair.
Yeah.
We also just finished talking about uh, something that it was a real life situation of a young man.
We should probably could we post it on the pedigree page?
Yeah, y'all just posted on the pedigree page. Um, who basically was saying his situation about his wife having an emotional affair, and just jumping into that, me and the good doctor weighed in on the conversation. Um, but again, we want to know how you guys feel about it. You know, uh, shit, I know my limits. I know me. I know what I ain't. I just can't do that. Um, so again, please make sure you guys share our Facebook, our YouTube, our Twitter. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel because we're really trying to build it up. It's Super Bowl Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm rooting for my 49ers to win their sixth Super Bowl. I believe if they win, I don't buy. I think the only anything 49ers I got is a coffee cup and it's actually in my truck. Uh, Even though I'm a fan of sports teams, I'm really not into buying sports apparel. Like I'm just really not. But if they win they six, I think I'm gonna go and get me at least a 49ers jersey, a T-shirt, or something because I'm always getting. By now, over 10 years, everybody knows, especially on social media, I am a 49ers fan. I just don't be like Cowboys fans and gotta push it every game Sunday. So I want to wish the San Francisco 49ers well in beating the Kansas City Chiefs.
What time is kickoff? 6:30.
Not 5:30. So again, we're in the middle of KB's throwback song of the day, which is Sherelle featuring Alexander O'Neal, Saturday Love, and we go jump into Kobe Bryant. Hey, put it on. Now, for you guys who want to actually listen to the song and listen to the previous song that we even played on today's show, you got to listen to us on our podcasting service for copywriting reasons. I make it to where you guys can hear it because I mean I could let y'all hear it. I don't want that smoke. Uh, Facebook. Hey, we are back. That was Sherelle featuring Alexander O'Neal, and that was Saturday Love for KB's throwback song of the day. I was in the middle of explaining the reason why you guys who are watching us on our live stream don't hear the music is because I really don't want that smoke um, from the music companies. Facebook has shit. They know me by now. Uh, Warner Music Group know me by now, so I'm pretty good there. However, I really don't want to take that chance with YouTube and Twitter. However, we do play music. You can catch the music on our podcast when I upload them to our podcasting platforms. So with that being said, man, we're gonna go and keep this train moving. For you guys, again, you know, we got the news last Sunday that Kobe Bryant, along with his daughter and 7 other men and women, died in a helicopter crash. However, since that time, a lot of reports have come out and from many experts in the field of helicopter crashes. Basically, are saying that this has everything to do with pilot error, from him really not taking that flight at all, uh, from him not heeding the traffic control that was telling him that he was actually going the wrong way. He thought he was going up, and they would tell him, "Hey man, you're heading basically toward the ground." Uh, I'm going to read a quote from an aviation expert who weighed in on it. And when me and a good doctor was talking earlier this week about this situation, as I stated to her, and I did see one story about this. There's probably going to be lawsuits involved. Right now, everybody is mourning the loss of their loved ones. However, just like anybody else who was in a car wreck and died, or when you get hit, there's a such word called insurance companies, and who's liable for the death of family members. The blame is going to eventually start after the uh, mourning of our lost ones, of their lost ones. And so, one of the first things I posted on the situation, and this was from WFAA, and this was from a aviation lawyer. This is what he said about the situation. Kobe Bryant helicopter crash likely due to cloudy conditions. All of the information indicates the pilot inadvertently went into clouds where he didn't have reference to the ground, John Kittle says. As firefighters put out flames, the National Transportation Safety Board and Federal Aviation Administration headed to the site of the helicopter crash in Calabasas, California that killed 41-year-old Kobe Bryant, his 13-year-old daughter, what's her name? Gigi, we're going to say Gigi, and 7 others, including the pilot Sunday morning. Uh, it goes on to say that aviation lawyer John Kittle has investigated helicopter crashes for 25 years and flew for the Army as a captain for 8 years. He says the blame in this crash appears to fall on the pilot getting disoriented in the condition. It was a basic call, said, nothing new, and it was entirely avoidable. He says altitude and speed charts showed the helicopter was flown into the ground. He says altitude and speed charts show the helicopter was flown into the ground. A lot of people throw around or consider it speculation, but it's not. Kettle said, you can draw some logical conclusions by the basic information we know now. The radar flight path, those indicate the pilot inadvertently went into clouds where he didn't have reference to the ground. It's basic stuff. There's nothing speculative about that. He also goes on to say it's screaming out of the sky, accelerating, which means the pilot didn't know what end was up. Kettle says. Remember, I was saying that Monday he'll speak about safety and increasing crashes at the nation's largest helicopter conference. So, I posted this on my social media page because everybody was saying, and their initial reports was, "What about a bang?" And people seen, the engine, exploding and all this other stuff. Uh, which would lead to in my next conversation. But what do you think about that so far?
Um, well, according to other reports, it's going to be maybe a year or so before the NTSB um, reveal or publish its final report, and then that's when we'll know for sure or confirm whether it was pilot error or something with the Sikorsky helicopters. And Sikorsky is a top leader in helicopter manufacturing. So If it is found to be helicopter malfunction, the engine, or something, then do the families go after Sikorsky? But if it's found to be pilot error, then do the families and their lawsuits that go after Kobe Bryant's estate or the insurance that um, he had on the helicopter? I mean, no amount of money is going to bring the families back. This is a tragic accident, not only because it involved Kobe Bryant and his daughter, but the amount of people. Um, it was said that he chose to use a helicopter because he was getting stuck in traffic and he hated LA traffic. So instead of taking 4 hours, if you've ever driven in LA, then you know the traffic is horrible. So instead of taking 4 hours to go from point A to point B, he would just fly his helicopter. And this was his personal helicopter. This was his personal pilot. This is someone he's flown with before. So it's going to be interesting to read the report to see what they finally come up with, even though it's going to take a while. So a lot of this is speculation. Um, Even though this guy is an expert on helicopter safety, you know, the final answer will come from the NTSB. But I don't know. Like you say, you're getting some report that the engine fell out. Then you have this expert saying no. He once he flew in the fog in the clouds, he couldn't tell which way was up, which way was down, and basically it's like he flew right into the ground,
Right. So
not knowing
so
where
here's
he
what.
was.
So so let's so let me add something to your statement so we clear on why the reason why he flew. He missed his child's recital once, and it pissed him off so much. That's why he started flying because it had everything to do with his daughter. Uh,
Well, he missed it because of the traffic.
right, but that's what I'm saying. You was like, well, just because of traffic. No, his problem. He had a problem with his motivation for flying because he said it in the interview. I watched his interview when he said this. In the interview, he stated that when I missed my daughter's recital because of the LA traffic, but it was around his daughter. It wasn't the traffic. It was because any other time he would have been fine with traffic, but it was his daughter
Right.
and him not wanting to miss what's going on with him. Why he started flying, and from then on, he flew everywhere.
Yeah.
He flew to practice.
Yeah.
He flew his children to practice.
If you know where the Staples Center is in Calabasas, I could see why he took. Uh, it was. It made more sense for him to purchase a helicopter and just fly because coming from the north into the city, he would be late for everything because LA traffic is not based on time; it's just traffic all the time. And so, but I guess with owning an aircraft, even with buying a ticket and flying on the aircraft, you assume a risk. You really are putting your life in the hands of someone else and their expertise. And there is human error, even in a doctor, even with having surgery, you're putting your life in the hands of another human. They may be an expert, but experts make mistakes, and unfortunately, this if it was a pilot error, this was just a horrendous mistake.
Right. This was silver. Come on, bro. You hit my tablet, man. I mean, my laptop, dude. You can't do that. You turning my story up. Now, bless you. You know all this shit is just gonna show up on this record, man. Golly. So again, you know, everybody. Now, the good doctor is saying wants to come out. The problem is that all these people who live in aviation have access to the same information that the people who are investigating the accident. Uh, they're able to get and see the flight pattern. This aviation lawyer who been investigating helicopter crashing for over 20 years was able to access. Now, what the people who are investigating this doing is they're just taking their time
Right.
because they just collected all the pieces. Let's be
Mm-hmm.
real. We found out that he was dead on Sunday. On Sunday, they have officially pronounced him dead, and it being him just Friday.
Yeah.
So they're moving a little bit slower than people who are actually able to access information. Just to say, well, hey, we gave a thorough. So again, now where my problem comes in at is the person who actually recorded, because I seen her interview while I read the interview. She says, I always record when there's a lot of noise or something going on when it comes over my house. Just so happened, because it was one of them situations, the woman that actually recorded the accident did not know at the time she was recording the death of Kobe Bryant. For the people who are watching, who are quick to talk about, well, what about the explosion of a. Okay, let's use some common sense. First and foremost, the woman that actually recorded it never said that. Right. She never says that, an engine blew up. She never says anything that the helicopter was malfunctioning. What she recorded was the crash.
That's right.
And if you've ever seen a crash, crashes make noise. Right. Thank you, Silver. I'm saying the same thing. Sometime again, we can read too much. If you don't have credible sources, the reason why I brought up the guy who was an aviation lawyer, because he's credible. From what he's seen so far, he's able to access the fact that he's going in different circles. He's moving. They can do it. Anytime a plane is in the air, it's always being tracked. It's like GPS. They can see when you go up, when you decrease in speed, when you increase speed. You know what I'm saying? When you decide to decline, incline, you're being monitored. You're in constant communication with somebody just in case of emergency. Because they know there are so many different helicopters and airplanes flying in the air. Somebody gotta make sure y'all ass don't hit each other. I literally seen the other day an airplane was just higher than the other airplane, and they literally was passing each other. One going one way, one was coming another. One was flying at one altitude, and another was flying at another. Another part I want us to look at is that it has also been reported that the helicopter he flew, as the good doctor was saying, and she didn't use the word, it was a luxury helicopter. What do I mean by that? This was as the article says that I'm going to get into, the Cadillac Escalade of helicopters. This wasn't your regular 4-passenger, helicopter, your tourist helicopter. No, it flew fast enough to get you to where you need to go in 15, 20 minutes. So it went 400 and some miles per hour.
Costco makes helicopters and I don't want to say airplanes, but they make aircraft for the military. Their biggest contractors with the military.
Right. Now, so with this said, and I asked you
they
guys
make Blackhawks. That's what it is.
Right, and that's fast.
Yeah. Yes.
So with that being said, I asked the question: was Kobe Bryant concerned about the safety of his daughter and the 7 other men and women who was on this flight when he jumped on this flight?
No, I mean, I guess as much as anyone else who books a ticket, I mean, was I concerned about Silver's safety when I flew to Florida?
Well, I would say, now with him it's different.
I think it's an assumed risk. The thing is, he had been flying with this pilot. This pilot has never had any complaints, accidents, write-ups. He has logged over 8,500 hours in flying. He was a credible pilot. He flew this airplane, this helicopter, multiple times. So his track record was good. Kobe had been, this was his helicopter. He purchased it from the state of Illinois. The helicopter used to belong to the state of Illinois. This is how they used to transport heads, their state officials around. So this wasn't brand spanking new. This was one that was used multiple times before. So I guess he said, "Hey, jump in my helicopter. We'll take my helicopter," because he'd done it so many times before to go from his house to the Staples Center, his house to school. This was like his chauffeured car. Do you think about the risk when you jump in your car and go to the store? You just get in and go.
Okay, well, good doctor, because I'm glad you said that. Again, we gonna set this thing up. That sounds great. But we check our oil. We make sure.
When every time we get in,
no, because you're reminded through
regular maintenance.
Right. So hold on.
There was nothing on file because NBC came back and pulled his record. He had no write-ups, no accidents. There was nothing wrong with the airline, with the helicopter.
Okay, so I like that because I get to turn around and say, well, no, that wasn't the case. It's because this was his personal, when we had this conversation, when we brought up lawsuits. Because this was his personal vehicle, that one made it worse. The truth is, Kobe is liable he's going to be liable even in death. That's just a fact.
Well, we don't know if they were made to sign a release form.
Well, that ain't out here yet. So until we find that, so hold on.
So we're going to assume because
if because it haven't came out,
knowing who he is, maybe his attorney was like, listen, if you're going to take people on this flight, have them sign some forms.
Okay, so
we don't know because I mean, people with money operate different than people without money.
Well, we understand that. However, we don't.
Maybe there was some kind of signature. There was some kind of form that even when you go to jump out of a plane, you sign a form releasing all liability from.
Yeah, but that's totally different than him.
No, but I'm saying if.
So what I'm saying is, good doctor, hold on. First of all, that haven't came out. So that might be the case, but we don't know. As of right now, we just gonna go with what we know. As for what we know right now.
Well, we don't even know if these people are gonna sue. I mean,
and I just said, listen, what I'm saying is that, well, actually, we do know because there's a story that come out now
that they're going to sue, then we should assume that I believe 8 times out of 10 they have to sign a waiver.
Okay, so
because I know you have to sign one to jump out of a plane.
Yeah, but again,
so if you have to sign one to jump out of a plane.
But there's two different things. You're talking about amusement where you're going to do that anyway, and we're talking about somebody who's training somebody in the cooling of a car.
If you're going to do that to jump out of a plane, then I am sure because this plane was licensed under a company, and now they're looking at the company because the company did not. Have license or the helicopter was not licensed under the company to fly in extreme weather conditions. And so that the company that the plane was licensed under, that the helicopter was licensed under, they may come up under some kind of legal ramification. However, being in business, being a multi-millionaire, maybe those people they have to say, oh, I just need you to sign this form. And how many of us just sign forms without reading through it? If those forms exist and come into play, then their lawsuit will be null and void.
Okay, so again, where that might be the case, as of right now, we don't know.
Right.
But what has come out is now the legal side of it has come out.
What is the legal side?
Okay, Google it. Because now they are talking about the legal ramifications of this accident. With that being said, because we don't know. And by now, we would have known if there was some type of form that anybody flying in his personal aircraft. Because what we have to do is we have to look at his aircraft in the same manner that we would look at his regular personal vehicle. This was his form of transportation. Now, where, for instance, we do take for granted when we jump in cars because we're hoping that our cars maintain. We're hoping that the airplane that we jump on has been maintained and the maintenance is straight. I give you an example of that when you were mentioning. Hold on, Silver. When you were mentioning, well, we were, when nobody knows, who thinks about it?
Thinks about what?
About the safety side of getting in their transportation. You said, well, I didn't think about that when I jumped in. Well, you did because you put that the same way anybody who ever flies in other transportation. You put that safety in the hands of the people who are operating those vehicles.
Right, right.
Now, with that being said, the airplanes that ironically flown to the ground because the pilots, what was that? The Boeing, that new Boeing airplane.
Yeah, the 757.
Right, the 757. It's called something else. In any case, when they flew, of course, their craft was going to malfunction. Right. Well, we found out in that situation that still had everything to do with Boeing. So you knowingly put the pilot and its passengers in harm. Yeah, because what happened was it was missing what they never told them or told the people that deal with flying, that they circumvented a safety measure in which the pilots couldn't override. In other words, I guess the airplane, when it detected something, it automatically noticed with both flights, it automatically went to the ground. Right. The pilots had no control of it, so that's how they ended up going to the ground. Boeing hid that. So that's why that plane won't be taking flight no time soon. I believe people in the Midwest who were making parts for that airplane are now out of jobs because they're no longer making parts for it. But anyways, back to the COVID situation and what I'm trying to allude to, and I'm basically building up for this story that I'm going to bring up. And I did ask the question, was COVID liable? Common sense says, of course, Kobe was not thinking about the safety. However, he did leave it in the hands of his pilot. And as I mentioned when we first had this conversation, with all his expertise, with all his flying hours, there's still room for error. However, another article comes out that talks about Kobe Bryant body, 8 others recovered from helicopter that lacked terrain warning system. Hold on, Silver. Hold him. Jesus, come on, man. You too busy trying to talk, and I can't hold you. You heavy, and you hurt my arms. And I know you over here watching. But let us finish the show while you smiling and everything. Let's finish the show and then I'll deal with you, okay? As I stated, this airplane was the helicopter was the luxury, Escalade, Cadillac Escalade of helicopters. And this is from Yahoo. Kobe Bryant body, 8 others recovered from helicopter that lacked terrain warning system. Flying aboard a luxury helicopter with a veteran pilot at the control, Kobe Bryant and his 7 fellow passengers should have had few words. What's the name of this airplane? The Sikorsky. Okay, the Sikorsky S-76B that would whisk them roughly 90 miles from Orange to Ventura counties, crossing over the heart of Los Angeles, was like a Cadillac Escalade of choppers. Recall Kurt Ditz, a former pilot for Bryant. The model is a sleek craft with dual engine equipped with all the bells and whistles, Ditz said. Yet it lacked a key safety feature, a terrain awareness and warning system. TAWS, which is TAWS, a National Transportation Safety Board official said Tuesday. The NTSB had recommended it be required on large passenger carrier choppers after a Texas crash in 2004, but that never happened. The remains of the retired NBA superstar, his 13-year-old daughter, and the others have now been recovered. Their relatives have been notified, Los Angeles County authorities said. It says the NTSB investigators finished collecting evidence Tuesday, hauling wreckage out of the helicopter in a large white bag to be trucked away for a 600-foot debris field. The article goes on to say, we're just not focusing on whether we are going to take broad look at everything around this accident, said Jennifer uh, Homedy, the NTSB board meeting leading the investigation. The key questions include, was the pilot, Aura Zabian, flying too fast, more than 150 miles per hour, and too low in moments before the crash? Had he become lost? Did the helicopter, despite all of the safety features built into it, incur a mechanical failure? Besides TOS, Brian's copter also lacked black box that could aid investigators, Homedy said. The NTSB had also previously recommended flight data and cockpit recorders for helicopters. To no avail, Homedy said investigators, however, have radar tracking and communications with air traffic control. Let me just stop there. Everything in this article leads to this could have been prevented. It could have been prevented because, as somebody who's in the transportation industry who drive a truck for a living, which is number I believe 10 on the list of most dangerous jobs in the country, this helicopter will fall under transportation. It doesn't matter if it's an airplane. It doesn't matter if it's a boat. If it has to do with transportation, a car, it is all transportation. When investigators are trying to find at fault, when insurance companies are trying to find out who is at fault, what they look at is, was there everything necessary to fly this flight or this airplane? And just say it was unnatural causes. In other words, a propeller broke off. Because you can check something before you fly, and then of course maybe while you flying, or just say for instance if you're driving, your tail light go out, right? Or your tire go on flat. When I say everything right now that's coming out is leading to the error, because these are experts or people who study this no different than car insurance. People who are trained in transportation, and in this incident, in the subsection of transportation's helicopter. Why he's going to be liable, and I hate to say it, is because they're going to say this helicopter again lacked all the safety equipment to be safe in flying an airplane. Did it lack so it says in this article that this helicopter lacked a terrain, a helicopter terrain warning system. Because guess what? If it had a helicopter terrain warning system, he would have known or been detected that he was flying to the ground instead of up in the air.
The thing is, the current FAA regulations only commands that piece be in the airlift, the ambulance, the helicopter that's an ambulance.
No, the NTPS had recommended it be required on large passenger carriers.
FAA regulations mandate a TOS installation.
What are you looking at?
In the TOS, I looked it up. Installation only in helicopters that conduct air ambulance operations. It was just a recommendation, but it's mandated for air ambulances. So they can make recommendations to Sikorsky, but Sikorsky they're not mandated to follow because that is not an air ambulance. So if you have an air ambulance, then it's mandated. Other than that, it's just a recommendation.
So again, from the NTBS, because I understand what you're looking for, and again, when we talk about different forms of helicopters and no different than trucks.
So do you follow the NTSB recommendation, or do you follow the FAA regulation?
Listen, right. So the National Transportation Safety Board is higher than the FAA. The NTSB is higher than the FAA.
But the NTSB does the investigations. They don't make the
TAWS
laws.
is the National Transportation Safety Board. They are higher than the
TAWS
FAA.
is the Terrain Awareness Warning System.
However, but
and
what
the
I'm saying is
FAA, which is the Federal Aviation Agency, who makes the laws. The NTSB just does the investigation when you break the laws.
no, I'm looking at it. The National Transportation Safety Board is over all of it. It's no different than when, for instance, I have
They made a
you're gonna get
recommendation to the Federal Aviation Administration.
No, it
They
says the
only make
NTSB recommended to be
recommendations.
required to law
They're not
enforcement
in
carriers.
charge of them.
It says required.
If you
They
go to
recommended
the
for it to
FAA,
be.
I went
I'm
to
not
the
looking at the FAA
No,
because
I
they're
went
not
to
the
the
head of it.
FAA website, and it's mandated for air ambulances. It's not mandated for private passenger helicopters. It's recommended. It's like you're not mandated to have a backup camera. They may recommend it for it to be safe when you're parallel parking or backing up, but it's not mandated. You don't have to have it.
Right, and so
So
okay,
in this
let's
case,
run with
it's
let's run with
mandated for air ambulances. I could understand that because you're already carrying someone in a critical incident.
So again, let's run with what you're saying. We're gonna run with that.
Okay.
We're gonna run with that.
So they
A
will
lawyer will say, hold on. A lawyer will say again. A lawyer will say, well, did that helicopter have everything necessary to perform its duty?
Yes.
That would be a no.
It was a recommendation.
Right, but it did, and so a lawyer would turn around and
But if
say,
it was an air ambulance and they didn't have the TARS
but you're not in the
system,
ambulance.
if
You didn't need, it's like right now if you go take
Okay.
your car, hold on.
the FAA,
If you take your car
let's
to
read
the
it.
car place, right?
Current FAA regulations mandate.
Or we read
I'm reading from the FAA website. Current FAA regulations mandate a TAWS installation only in helicopters that conduct air ambulance operations. Keyword mandate only. Mandate a TAWS installation only in helicopters that conduct air ambulance operations. This was not a helicopter conducting an air ambulance operation. Therefore, they don't have to. They're not mandated
okay, so
to have a TAWS installation. It is recommended. You can make recommendations, but they're not mandates.
right, and so again,
So it was recommended by the NTSB to FAA that helicopters should have this TAWS, but not mandated. It was just recommended. If
Right,
you
so-
want to be safe or safer, then we recommend.
right, and so
But now, if you are an air ambulance helicopter, you're mandated. So when they do the safety checkpoint on the air ambulance, if they don't have the TAWS system, it's automatic. You can't even fly. That's why this helicopter was still allowed to fly. If you don't meet safety requirements, you can't fly. You can't go on the road. If you don't pass inspection, you can't drive.
So
why was this helicopter allowed to be in the air without the mandated part? Because
okay,
this
so
part
let me
was not mandated
okay,
for
can I
this
answer the
kind of
question?
helicopter.
Can I answer the question?
What was the question?
You said why was it okay, so now I heard you, so let me say the other end of it. Thank you. You just said why was it allowed to fly? First of all, that's an asinine question. People get basic liability on cars when there are more insurance that actually cover
No,
your
we're
car.
talking about the
Hold on,
safety
listen to me.
inspection. I'm
Right,
not
so listen to what I'm
saying
saying. Listen to me. You will understand what I'm saying. I heard you speak, so listen to what I'm saying. Response to you. Because I can give you an example, which is a good example. I can drive around with liability insurance because if I get in an accident, that means that I have the basic coverage.
Can you
to
drive
legally,
in Texas without passing inspection?
Can you drive?
Can you drive your car?
Yeah, no.
Without passing inspection?
No.
So you can't fly your helicopter if it doesn't pass inspection.
So again, if you
can you drive your truck if it does not pass inspection at work? If you do your safety working or something does not pass the safety check, what they will tell you, you can't put that truck on the road. This is with this helicopter. If the helicopter was mandated to have the TAWS system in there and it didn't have that system, it would be grounded. They would tell Mr. Bryan, I don't care.
So right, I mean we
if
understand.
the FAA people come in here, DOT comes in and I'm driving this truck that should have been grounded, what's going to happen? This pilot would lose his license. when he is a great pilot. He has no accidents. He has a clean record, over 8,500 air flying hours. That's a lot of hours to be flying. He's like top notch. Why would he risk his license for Mr. Bryant to say, hey, you didn't pass inspection, we still gotta go? If that airline didn't pass inspection, it couldn't make it in the air.
Right. So again,
if the airline was not safe, it would not make it in the air.
Right. So again, as I was saying, and thank you. Now let me go on and say what I'm gonna say. As I was saying, you can get basic car that are function, because here in the state of Texas, your inspection and your insurance are one. You are mandated by law to just have the basic minimum. However, when you go to an insurance company or towards your car, you also have the option of adding full coverage, rental insurance, everything else that actually covers you. Because, and we're using the car right now, and how this equates to, with car insurance and you just have the basic minimum, how does it work when you just have liability? You're only covering the car you hit. It does not cover yours, and everything that goes with it. Whereas everybody understands what you're saying in that, well, it was not mandatory. What I'm saying is that, again, you had the basic minimum of, I'm able to fly. However, having the basic minimum caused the death and error for this pilot. Now, when you have people's lives in your hand, especially like a helicopter, and again, like I said, Kobe Bryant paid this man to be a professional. But however, took for granted that he got it. But was he able to say, you know what, as I asked, was he really concerned about the safety? We're not talking about a car. This goes about 400 miles per hour. Up to that. It can get to wherever it needs to go in about 20 minutes. That's how fast it goes. So when I say, a smart attorney will say, well, you know what? You were recommended to have this on y'all airplane. Y'all chose not to. Because in a court of law, all you have to do is create a doubt. In other words, when I brought it up, of course, we don't want to talk about it, but that's the first thing that I thought about. It's no different than a car accident. Because say I'm in the transportation industry. I drive a truck for a living. I get into a wreck. What does my law book have to do with the wreck? But you know what they're going to ask me? Let me see your law book. What does my phone have to do with a wreck? We're going to say a car hit me, right? What does my cell phone have to do with a wreck? It has absolutely nothing. Now, what does have to do with a wreck, and which makes sense, is let's drug test you to see if you high on something, or if you have something in your system that impairs you. And so my simple saying, because you're correct, at the end of the day, a smart attorney is going to say every recommendation y'all didn't do, so y'all just escaped with the bare minimum. Your bare minimum is the reason why they're in the situation that we're in. We have 9 dead bodies. So when the article says the investigator has to now go through all these questions of could it be prevented, that's something that you have to take consideration of. It's not just saying, well, you know what? Well, they had the bare minimum to pass an inspection. But did you have any safety terrain? Because you have to go down. You're going to drive, you're going to fly in unclear weather. An airplane flies in all type of weather. Now, in yours talking about what's mandatory, apparently airplanes have this type of terrain system, even though it's not mandated because I didn't say nothing about commercial airplanes. So apparently they have it on their airplanes. No, this was a situation where I'm good and I'm not going to do it because I'm listening to you talk. You never once mentioned commercial airplane, but I guarantee commercial airplane. No, listen, but again, you said the FAA, which that the only one that's recommended, that
For
is mandated,
helicopters,
listen to
air
what I'm saying.
ambulances.
Right, for just it. But what I'm saying is, I guarantee you, commercial airplanes have
But
terrain,
this
a
is
terrain
not
system.
this isn't a commercial. This isn't a commercial aircraft.
Listen to what I'm saying. Catch what I'm saying. You read in your thing that the FAA only has 4 helicopters. They're basically hospital helicopters. You know,
Yes,
the
right.
medical
Air
helicopters.
ambulance.
Right. They're the only ones. So just listen. You've
They're
only read.
mandated to carry the TARS
Right. So
system.
what I'm saying is that I bet you commercial airplanes have this system as well.
Right,
What-
but
So what I'm saying is that
But
where
what
it's a
commercial-
choice.
what commercial airplanes do is different than helicopters. I mean, even their
So a
a
private
commercial-
helicopter
a
is different
commercial-
than that too.
a commercial airplane has a black box, and a helicopter doesn't have to have a black box.
Right, and so again, you just read what you mandated, what is mandated,
For
and what I'm
helicopters
adding.
and the TARS system.
Right, but what I'm saying is when you talk about mandated to have this system, and when they talk about the only one that's specific to have it.
With regards to helicopters.
Okay, so and again, the article says it doesn't have a black box. What I'm pointing to is that they went around the system. I heard what you're
No,
saying.
what they did was they just followed the basics. Like you
Right,
said, you
so-
don't have to have full coverage. You could just carry basic insurance. However, if you carry basic insurance, you open up yourself to being liable. But you don't have to have it.
Right, and so again, that's
They
what I'm
don't
saying.
have to have all these safety measures. Now, they could.
So they didn't have it and they died.
Right.
So again, it goes back to my whole point.
What
That
was the
again,
point?
which is the bare minimum. If you listen, the bare minimum
But you
just
don't
saying that I have
to do
enough.
it. I mean, in
And just
because
because you don't have to do it, now they're dead.
Hey, I don't have to have full coverage.
So
There's
right
no
now,
law
I got a question. So what you
saying
put?
that I have to have full coverage.
So what you put
that
the
doesn't
baby?
mean
So
I'm
what you
liable.
put? What you put Silver in the car without a baby seat?
That's the law. It is the law. When you break the law, then you suffer the penalty.
Okay, they didn't break the law when they still did, and they're still going to probably be liable.
So
because
what?
Right.
It's just what happens when you fly. They followed the law.
But if they could, right,
It was a
but they still.
recommendation. It was not a mandate. If it was an air
So you just
ambulance,
saying because it's mandated, but again,
it
that
is
still
the
doesn't
law.
stop them
It
from
is
being
a law that
lawsuits.
a child should be in a car seat.
So you don't think that these victims who are going to end up suing is going to get any money from them?
I don't know that. They could plead emotional distress, or his estate could say, you know what, we're going to assume responsibility. However, we don't know if they signed a waiver of liability, which I'm thinking they had to sign something. Because my thing, if you have to sign a waiver of liability to jump out of a plane,
Yeah, but
sure
your
you
thought
have to
process
sign
is not
one.
everybody else's thought process.
But
That's
I'm
still
saying it's
you're
just
still
an
trying to
assumption
point
because
to
we're
the same.
assuming that they're even going to sue. Maybe their mindset is not even
Hold
in,
on. So
in the context of suing.
let's kill the assumption real quick and let me pull up this article.
Like, who thinks about suing in the time of death? Maybe a year later, but then statute of limitations may come in. When they actually think about it, they would have to file that lawsuit right away.
No, not really. Because again, even courts will understand that.
We're talking about two children lost their parents and their sister.
Legal.
We're talking about a husband
action.
lost his wife. Who sits down and say, in the midst of my grief, I'm going to sue?
The same people that sit up and brought lawsuit against the ISD after their son was killed.
Okay, but
So it ain't like it can't get done.
right. I'm not, but I'm saying these people may not even think about.
No,
it
you
by
said
the
who
time
does
they
it,
do.
and I'm saying that.
But by the time they do, the statute of limitations may have kicked in. Maybe they only had 90 days to bring a suit. Maybe they only had a year.
Well, I'm sure they.
But
Probably
their
gonna
suit
have
is going to be
legal
based
action.
on the NTSB report that is
Legal
going to take
action.
maybe a year to come out.
Kobe.
They have.
I'm just bringing up that it's already been talked about.
It all
that they're already
depends on
talking about the
who's
legal.
going to be erroneous. A good lawyer will say, "Hey, you signed this form.
Right, but right now we don't know if it's a
I'm
form.
sorry your parents died, but they signed this form."
So, in the Kobe Bryant crash, could a lawsuit be coming? Former U.S. Department of Transportation Inspector General Mary Chavo, a partner at Motley Rice, said that lawyers would be looking at multiple facts, including the conversation between the air traffic control and the pilot just before Sunday's crash, which killed the L.A. Lakers star, 8 others. Those next sentences could be billion-dollar words, Chavio said. The cause of the helicopter crash that killed retired Los Angeles Lakers basketball player Kobe Bryant His 13-year-old daughter and 7 other people remains unknown. The National Transportation Safety Board is investigating in the fall of Sunday, blah, 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 blah. So the article goes on to say the recorder talks to the former U.S. Department of Transportation Inspector General Mears, whose firm brought a lawsuit over the crash of the U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter. A Sikorsky similar to the one that was taking Brian and the other passengers to his daughter's basketball game. This one was in 1991 helicopter, so it got some years on it. To me, it was interesting. It was circling downtown, the Los Angeles, at a very low altitude. To me, that says fall or some kind of problem. Then they headed to Calabasas. Then they turned left, blah, blah, blah. It says, what about the pilot? It's looking bad at this point for the piloting, but we don't know yet. But taking off in limited visibility on a visual flight rule plan, that call will be questioned by the NTSB. Why didn't they go? Instrument flight rules, which means air traffic control. So here, the second avenue of examination will be the pilot performance and whether this is pilot error, which brings us to the third thing lawyers will look at. What is this? Is this holding company? Which is holding company? I've never even heard of that. The aircraft was titled owned by a company called Island Express. Island Express is south of Los Angeles, Orange County, and runs visual tour air tours. They take people out over Catalina Island, and they have a few dozen employees, and they were looking for more employees when this happened, and they took their website down. It goes on to say, what do you make of the air traffic control conversation with the pilot? I've only heard snippets of air traffic control. The U.S. government runs air traffic controls. They said they were going to follow the aircraft on radar. They said, no, you're way too low. They said we can't climb any higher because we're in the clouds. They were really low for Los Angeles. Anymore. We can't watch you on radar. You're too low. What we need to hear from the pilot and the air traffic control was just that. And then it went blank because, again, for people who've seen the flight of the aircraft, where he thought he was trying to get out of the clouds, he was going down, which will lead to the first article that we discussed, which was the aviation lawyer, where he was upside down. You get what I'm saying? Everything that they've seen. And so again, when we talk about lawsuit was enough, the question was raised. In litigation, all I'm saying out there and putting out there is that these are going to be questions that the attorneys are going to have when this come up. We don't know when it's going to come up. We don't know how it's going to come up. But when people die, we see it in what's going on with the DISD high school with the young man who was killed. And he caused his own death. It was the story, and it was on the news. South Oak Cliff and Kimball were in a basketball game, and there was a shooting at their basketball game. The young man family who ended up getting cool has now sued DISD. Now, in my mind, there's no reason.
They filed a suit, right?
They filed a suit against DISD.
But they haven't won it. They've just filed a suit.
No, right. The point is that they filed a suit.
Do people sue airlines when they crash?
The people who were killed, a lot of people have. A lot of people have brought. I just read this person right here who formerly worked for the the Department of, who is this? Former U.S. Department of Transportation Inspector General. They sued this company once before and won for their black, not the company, the creators of the Sikorsky, the Black Hawk. They sued them for a similar situation. What they go into this article talk about is who actually owned the company. So in other words, Kobe Bryant Which, if he was still paying any type of fee to rent it, if he was paying
Might have been like
insurance on it, lease it, whatever it is, regardless, if a lawsuit bring about, they can still bring it to the insurance, which is what I mean by Kobe, not Kobe directly.
I think they're probably
the insurance and the company
to the company,
right? So
they own the aircraft,
right? So that's what I mean.
So maybe that will be his saving grace. It won't be what it won't be. His
yeah, when I mean
it'll be Allen Express.
Right, in the insurance. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about the estate of Kobe.
Yeah.
I'm talking about if he had to have insurance on that helicopter. I told you I drive in transportation. It's a $1 million price tag on my truck every time I drive, at minimum. Don't matter if I hit somebody or not, or they hit me. Right. This is what happened, and this is why I say this, because again, I'm in the transportation industry. We had a safety meeting. Remember what happened with me in my accident? Mm-hmm. The same thing happened to another driver. The difference was the car hit him. And what do I mean by that? The person said, hey, you know what, we ain't got to call the police, blah, 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 blah. Same situation. He leaves, he goes on to do his job. Only to find out, in the safety meeting, we all find out that the person ended up calling the police. Mm-hmm. Took pictures, did all of that. Nobody seriously hurt. But this is the person that said, no, we ain't got to call him, everything is cool. Right. But shit changed when insurance get involved. That's what I'm saying. Yes, these folks have died. Is there an argument for a lawsuit? I'm just saying yes. Yes, we can talk about the bare minimum and passing and all that. Ultimately, because the recommendations was not followed. Right. The speculation saying maybe this pilot who has all these years of flying experience had other tools necessary to make a better decision. You follow what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. To follow that better decision. Then we could check off, okay, well, you had the black box. You had the terrain system. Okay, we can scratch that out and then what else happened. So that's all I'm saying. Now, I'm not want to see a lawsuit brought against this woman and her family. Now, of course, she's not like she got to deal with it, but there's still a stress. Yeah. Because it's stress because now that shit is in the news. Yeah.
Or even internally feeling.
Because guess who they gotta ask questions about this helicopter crash? They can't ask Kobe.
Well, they would. I guess
they go ask her.
Say the conversation after that little snippet of what happened between the pilot and air traffic control, and then they just make a guesstimation. This is what we think happened based on this, and this. But right. Like one article is saying, you can't question what a pilot was thinking, because if we don't know, we could just make inferences based on outcomes. That maybe he was thinking this, maybe he was thinking that.
Right, and that's why the professionals are going to have to put it together and say, oh, this is, and that's why all the reports that are coming out now saying, like she said, it's really not looking good.
Right.
Because everything that we have so far, because you can't talk to dead bodies.
Right.
Everything we know, everything.
But I mean that we're not going to be privy to. That's going to come out in the report. And so I feel like once the report comes out, then it will be determined, do we go forward with a lawsuit? Because if the NTSB say, hey, this is just something that happened, then the minute the company's attorney is just going to say, you assume a risk, you're going to get on our helicopter. So okay. I mean, but it's a sad thing all around. Yeah.
So listen, we will go jump into the Gabrielle Union and Terry Crews situation, but that is actually still unfolding because Terry Crews has responded. And so what we're going to do is we're going to table that to next Sunday.
To see if any more developments come out of it.
So with that being said, man, I like to end the show. Okay, let's hit on him before we jump into, because I was going to go into Omar. I do an audio of Omar at the end of every show. However, real briefly, let's talk about Omar. Omar has his conspiracy.
Yeah.
His conspiracy is that, he was just knowledgeable. He was in a lawsuit with a pharmaceutical company over the naming rights. And you know how many folks are in lawsuits over naming rights. The doctor want to weigh in because I'm going to be real, real brief. Here's my petty moment. Dr. Omar Johnson. Umar, stay in your lane. You are great when it comes to psychology.
Yeah.
You are great when dealing with young black men in psychology.
Yeah.
The black community in psychology.
Special education.
Special education. Because
Black
you
power.
have years of experience
Yeah.
in that. I have a question where you went to school at, if you graduated, because guess what? I was one of those Negroes that tried to find you. And you can find out if you graduated. I remember when
Yeah.
all that shit happened.
I looked it up.
Yeah, I did too. I made
I
a
read his
contact. I made a call.
dissertation. You could read his dissertation. It's public.
I never 100 with you. You even in your drama with, I believe, Dr. Boyce Watkins or whoever it was, you you a little simple. Again, stay in your lane though. When it comes to Kobe, man, let the professionals.
Let the NTSB.
Well, just more than them. Let's just say the professionals that. Let's let the professionals that actually handle helicopter accidents do this.
Yeah.
It was painful to watch your YouTube video. Well, nah, fuck, I can't watch it and drive. It was painful listening to it. Because you can't come from a place of ignorance. I don't care how many degrees you got, what you got a doctorate in. You too can sound ignorant too. A place and you're not coming from credible sources. It becomes in my organization what we call rhetoric. That is one of the 7 liberal sciences. Rhetoric. Now, to me, that word means something. But what you're displaying is negative rhetoric. So let's let this family,
The city and the world.
the city and the world,
Fans.
let the professionals stick to it. We don't need your policy. We don't need that type of negativity and conspiracy theory when it comes to this brother death. Uh, I'm not going to lie. I shed a tear. And I don't cry for folks like that. But I thought about, you know what? On the same day he died, we're going to have to always, our, the good doctor's birthday, uh, Silver's baptism will always be tied to the day you died or to the day he died. And that's something that we're going to always remember in our lives. He was born August the 23rd, 1978, the same day as me. And he died on what we consider a special occasion, a day of celebration we will also share in the world's mourning. So with that being said, man, we got a message from Dr. Omar Johnson, and we'll holler at y'all until next Sunday. Hey, we want to shout out to everybody for tuning in on our social media pages. We have wrapped up today's show. Want to thank you guys for hanging in there with us. Me and the good doctor, in the absence of B Rock, but he will be back in the building next Sunday. Please like us on, follow us on Facebook, like us on Instagram, subscribe to us on YouTube. At some point, man, I'm definitely going to upload today's show as well as the past 4 previous shows. My brother be way down with so much in life outside of this radio show, but just know you will be able to go back to any of the past 4 previous shows and listen to them on our podcasting services, Spotify, SoundCloud, you name it. Tune in, and we will be there. So again, we want to thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure again you show us much love. Before I go, and I said I was going to do this. Shout out to um, our faithful follower, faithful viewer, Energized Code. I picked up my T-shirt. I'll wear it next Sunday. They have a hero series, a Black Hero series, where every month they will be uh, releasing a new shirt of a black icon. The month of January was MLK, and I wore that shirt yesterday. I have my Rosa Parks T-shirt that I will wear next Sunday. I'm in my Sunday clothes because we were coming from church today. Uh, Also, shout out to let me make sure I get this company right for my little old wrist candy when I went to go pick up my T-shirt. Uh, who gave me a bracelet to wear, and so I want to make sure that I um, shout them out as well. Let me get to. So I want to send a shout out to Sean, who's with the Movement Pieces by Sean. Thank you for the bracelet, pretty dope bracelet. Also, want to give a shout out to uh, this is a female apparel company who I posted on our Instagram company page. Uh, Taylor's Fashion, and you can find these places, man. They are located in DeSoto. So shout out to them as well, man, for much love and support of our show. With that being said, man, while we wind it down, today's show, we will holler at you guys next Sunday. Deuce, and we're out of here.